Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Focusing, everyone. So just before we finish with this part of Mantiq and enter into Maddatul Mantiq, or the material part of Mantiq, right? Which talks about al-Sina'atul Khams, the 5 skills. It's important to read through this relatively technical discussion before we enter into that, right? And what it talks about is the different divisions for ilmi discussions, the different types of ilmi discussions, scientific objects, right? I don't think the word objects here is the right word. I would say scientific discussions and their divisions.
Before we finish the discussion of the first part of logic, which is related to formal logic, it is necessary to explain the method of how to ask a question in different scientific issues on the levels of tasawwur and tasdeeq.
Okay, so again, I'm very sure that I don't need to explain and repeat what tasawwur and tasdeeq means. And I've said this many times. When we enter into logic, it's very serious, right? It's different to us being a little bit flexible in matters of fiqh. Here, it's where the serious thing happens. This is where you're going to prove and show that you are serious in learning and educating yourself in matters of Islamic studies. You're not putting any effort, you're not going to get anywhere. Once we finish this, we're going to go on to usul, and a lot of usul depends on this, and you're going to be scratching your head saying you don't know anything. I've mentioned this a few times before. It doesn't matter if I have 1 student or 3 students. I'm absolutely fine with that and will continue with that. If you're not putting any efforts whatsoever, wallahi, you're wasting your time and your energy, and you're also wasting my time as well, right? So I've put aside a lot of things. I'm compromising a lot. I'm trying to make sure that our setting is nice and comfortable, and you're all comfortable with me, breaking away formalities, right? I'm not demanding any exams for you to pass and go on to the next one, all for the sake of catering to your needs. All of you work and study and things like that. But it's not fair that you're not putting any effort. Who are you deceiving? Who are you tricking? Anyone other than yourself. Tasawwur and tasdeeq is very important. If you've lost a little bit of memory on what it is, or you weren't there in the beginning, you need to make sure that you get it. For those who are new, you can ask for the recordings for the previous durus, and you can watch it and you can catch up. So on the levels of tasawwur and tasdeeq, there are different approaches to how we ask a question. There are different methods in how we ask a question. What kind of answer do we want from the question that we are asking on both levels of tasawwur and also tasdeeq? Look at the footnote down the bottom where it says the famous proverb is ma'rifatu su'al nusfal jawab, and also asking a question is half of the knowledge. Or here, as I said in Arabic, knowing what the question is half of the answer. Ma'rifatu su'al nusf al-jawab. If you know what the question is, you've already got half of the answer ready. right? So the question and how to ask the question is very, very important in logic. Carry on.
Philosophers, hukama, have tried to explain the way of asking a question in order to acquire the conceptualizing of the unknown or to affirm it.
Okay, conceptualizing of the unknown means this majhul, you want to either have tasawwur of the unknown or you want to have tasdeeq of the unknown. You, in your question, there is something that you are unfamiliar with, either on the level of conceptualizing or in the level of assent and affirming, either in the level of tasawwur or in the level of tasdeeq. That's the purpose of you asking the question. Otherwise, why would you be asking a question? You're asking a question is because there is something majhul that you want to familiarize yourself with, right? What is this kind of discussion into looking into the type of question you ask in philosophy, in logic? It is called al-Matalib al-Ilmiyya, which basically means scientific issues, scientific objects, scientific discussions. Al-Matalib al-Ilmiyya. What does here it mean al-Matalib? Because it's what you utlub, it is what you are seeking. It is what you are seeking. You are seeking to know something, to understand something, and therefore you have to know how to articulate the question. Carry on.
And they call this scientific objects, al-Matalib al-Ilmiyya. The scientific objects are things that a researcher must acquire and achieve while researching, as acquired knowledge is divided into tasawwur and tasdeeq. The scientific question is directed at acquiring the tasawwur and acquiring the tasdeeq, and each one of them has its own instrument that through it is asked about.
Okay, so what this means basically is when we have ilm, right? We have two types of ilm. One is ilm tasawwuri and one is ilm tasdeeqi. And in both cases of tasawwuri and tasdeeqi, right? In both cases of tasawwuri and tasdeeqi, there is kasbi. What does kasbi mean? Acquired. Thank you. Kasbi means acquired. Why? Because when it comes to ilm, if you remember, we've said that ilm is either huduri or husuli, right? Huduri means presential knowledge, knowledge by presence. Yani you knowing that you are hungry, you knowing that you love, right? As for husuli, husuli means that you have acquired it, right? And one form of acquisition of knowledge is al-ilm al-kasbi, al-ilm al-kasbi, which means you put effort in learning it, in studying it. Now this ilm al-kasbi, right, is could be ilm kasbi tasawwuri, it could be ilm kasbi tasdeeqi. Carry on.
Logicians have divided the objects or scientific questions into primary and secondary objects.
Yeah. So just by the way, so this kasbi should be here. So ilm kasbi tasawwuri, ilm kasbi tasdiqi, right? So anyway, I'm not very good with that stuff, that division kind of diagram. Carry on.
Primary objects, al-Matalib al-Asliya, these are the issues that are used of over others in most cases.
Wait, repeat that sentence again. Logicians have
divided the objects or scientific questions into primary and secondary objects.
Okay. So the division here, the initial division is al-Matalib al-Asliya and al-Matalib al-Far'iyya. Al-Matalib al-Asliya are the primary questions that you need to ask. Like, what is it? Right? And then you're going to have Matalib Far'iyya, questions or issues that are not primary, they're secondary, right? Like, where is it? Like, so what if it's here or there? It's not as important as you asking, what is it? Right? Al-Matalib al-Asliya are issues that are used in such a way, right, where you cannot where are we up to? Primary objects, sorry. All right, read.
These are the issues that are used over others in most cases, and it is possible to ask through them in all sciences. They are four. Two of them are for tasawwur and two are for tasdiq. 1. Object of what? Matlab ma. What is it? For tasawwur, it is used to get an explanation for a meaning, and it is of two kinds. 1. Object of what of lexical explanation. Ma al-shariha.
Shariha.
And this is used to ask about the explanation of the meaning of a word, al-lafz, before having knowledge about its external existence, and the answer to it is called a lexical definition or lexical explanation of a word, sharh al-ism, like what is a jinn. 2. Object of what of definition, ma al-haqiqiyya, and it is used to ask about the explanation of the reality of a meaning after knowing that it exists and that it is a real existent, and the answer from it is called a real definition, al-had al-haqiqi, and it is possible to use it to ask a question after asking with a simple wetherness, hal basita, like what is the reality, hal basita, like what is the reality of this existing jinn.
No. Okay, write these four down, and each one of you, I want to make sure that you give me a detailed explanation to each of them. You write them down on a piece of paper with your name on the top, so I know that we're not talking gibberish and that you are doing your readings and your studyings. And the next time we have this lesson, in our next lesson, you'll be more familiar with it. Because honestly, put your hand up if you have no idea what's going on with these four Ma's. Be honest. So you know what's going on. If I ask you questions now on the ladies' side. All right. Okay. So next lesson, inshallah, familiarize yourself with this, and we will go through it, inshallah. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.